Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to put a remote starter on. Today we're going to use the 2010 Hyundai Elantra automatic transmission, and we're going to put a audio box or Prestige remote starter on. This is the Prestige APS 905 remote start. Screw hidden behind the fuse panel here. You get rid of that panel. We just take this screw out right here. Remove that screw. Down here we have another screw that we need to remove. Let's see if I can get it out. That screw's gone. Then on this side of the car we have another screw that we need to remove. Really remove that screw. Now we'll get those screws loose. We should be able to pull this panel down. Maybe I lied. Okay, now that we have the dash panel down, we had to remove this metal plate here. There is one 10mm here, one here, one here, one here, and one right there. We need to remove this plate so we can get to the wiring harness nice and easy. So we'll do that now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5. Now that we got the metal panel off, we can access everything nice and neat. Another thing I want to do is I want to remove the steering shroud. There is one screw right here, and let's see, we'll need our keys so we can start the ignition here. Turn the car on real quick, move the steering wheel, and you'll see one right here, Phillips head. Turn the steering wheel this way, there's another Phillips head on this side. Remove those 3 screws and this whole shroud will pop off. Just easily pull the bottom of the shroud. Okay, now we got that down. This is our ignition harness here. You can see it's blue plug, and it just attaches together like so. This is the end we're going to be working with. Take your razor knife and you can cut some of this tape away so you can get to everything. We want to be able to get to these wires here. So we'll just cut away some of this tape. So now, got a test light here. I prefer this test light, but I've been doing this for quite a long time. I would suggest anyone doing this to be very careful with a test light. You don't want to puncture any airbag wires. Usually the airbag wires are like these here. They're in a yellow tape, yellow plug. Not always, but usually. And they also can be an orange tape with an orange plug. So you want to stay away from those. And we get back over here. You could get your test light, find a good ground. And first thing we're going to look for is a hot. And according to my diagram here, the battery should be a black wire, which looks like the black wire is right here in the middle, and that is a black wire. As you can see, we have, as we probed, a black wire here. Now, let me see if we'll get it down here. You can see the test lights. That's our one battery wire. That is black wire. It is the middle wire. The other one, there's two of them that you need, should be a red wire, which looks like it's on the same plug, just on the other side. And that one is our positive. So there's our two constant hots. So we want the black and the red. Wish this was a little easier to do. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut away some of this sheathing. Just be very careful you don't hit the wire. We don't want to cut it up too bad. I just want to get some of this plastic off of it all the way around. All the way around. There, get some of that off of there. And you can take your test light, but be very careful. You should probably unplug it from your ground source at this point, or unhook it. Then just kind of stick it right in the middle of the wire and separate the wires as so. Okay, now you got a nice gap here. I'm going to grab my harness. This is the AudioVox harness. I've already kind of pre-wired it and taped it together. We're going to grab both hot wires that we got here, which on this AudioVox alarm, we have two reds, and they both are fused. You need to make sure you put the fuses in, but do not hook anything up to the main brain until we're done. So we need to strip one of these about an inch back. Get some of this wire off of here, then twist it nice and neatly. And then we're going to want to slide it right into this hole that we made. And then want to wrap these as tight as we can get them together till they kind of crimp together as such. Then we'll take a little bit of electrical tape here. We got to tape that up so it's nice and neat and won't short out. So you grab the tape, get in here, tape it up nice and neat. And it's not so easy when you got big hands, but you got to get in there and get it. Once you get her taped up, always take a wire tie to help give it some extra support here. And sorry about the long wire tie, that's all I had. We just go all the way down here to where we got it attached, and I just try to pull this wire tie as tight as I can to give it some extra support so it won't pull on it. Of course, we cut off the extra here and get rid of it. And then we want the red wire to do the same thing to this red wire. Okay, I changed things a little bit because my hands were just too big to get under here. I put the plug back together, and I'm just going to use from the top half here of this harness coming from the ignition switch. This is the black wire, which actually on the other side is the red, but this is still our constant here. I'm going to poke a hole into this one and then strip back a little bit of the wire on here. Then we twist it up a little bit, and then right through the hole. Careful that you don't touch anything metal, and you just twist it all the way around. Twist it all the way around, and you can give it a little tug, and it makes it nice and tight. Then we get some tape, tape it up so we don't have any shorts. You want to make sure you get it all taped up real nice and neat so you don't have any metal or braid sticking out. You don't want it to short out and touch anything metal, especially when that kick plate's back in. Take your wire tie, put it on here just like we did the other one, tighten it up nice and tight, cut off the excess. Alright, now we're going to go on to the next wire that we need to do, which will be, let's see, we're going to look for our let me look here. We need our accessory wire. Well, actually, we'll go back to, let's just go in order here. We did the 2 battery leads. We'll do the ignition 1. I will show you in this video a schematic on how you can tell your ignition from your constant, from your accessory, from ignition 2, and so on. I will give you a little diagram you can go by. But ignition 1, first you're going to need your key to your car. Put it in your ignition switch, and what we need to do is find, see, it says it's a blue wire. Our ignition 1 is a blue wire. So as you look on this harness, the blue wire is actually white and blue on this side of the switch. So what we want to try to do is stick our test light in here, and then when we turn the ignition on, the little red light comes on solid red. So now we know that's our ignition 1 wire. Just then go back to the off position, pull your key out, it should go off. If you go forward, ignition on, if you crank, it stays on, it never goes off. That's ignition 1. Alright, so we found our ignition 1. Let me get that out of the ignition before it drives me nuts. We need to strip the wire back on this line now. Be careful with the razor knife that you don't cut your hand. I've done this so many times, and boy have I cut myself a few times. Just easily slice the plastic sleeve. Then simply peel off a chunk of this. Get a good cut on it. So we simply just peel away some of this. Cut off the extra here. Oops, don't really want to do that. Then, same thing, just stick your test light in, be very careful. You could stick your finger and boy, it hurts. Alright, our ignition 1 wire on this particular alarm is okay, ignition 1 on the audio box starter is actually blue, just like the ignition wire. So we want to open this wire up a bit more, stick this one in. I guess we'll do a little better job there. And then stick it in here, as so. Well, let's see, I guess I need to get this a little bigger there. And stick this wire through there. Do the same technique, just wrap it around. Good idea to do, I'm not going to do it on this one, but would be to solder these connections, then tape them up. I'm just doing kind of a quick one to show you how to do it. That, and if we decide to get rid of the car, I don't have to cut all this out. I can just pull it out and tape it back up. But just tape it up real nice and neat. It'll hold fine though, just like this, but the solder definitely gives you a little better connection. And then we just wire tie this up like so, same as we've been doing, and cut it off. We go to our next wire. So we've done our 2 batteries, ignition 1. This car does not have 2 ignitions, some do, some don't. So we need an accessory wire now, which is on the car itself is an orange wire. orange wire in the back part of this harness. Looks like it's the first one in this top row, so it's going to be this white one here, and it's orange on the other end of the plug. So this should be our accessory wire. Now, our accessory wire on the remote start will be a purple wire. Now, the way you can tell if it's an accessory wire is take your test light again. We'll stick it in here to the white plug here. We need our key again. You turn it on and the light will come on red. When you start it, it should go out, and once it's running, it will come back on. That is our accessory wire. And it's the only one. Nope, we got two accessory wires. This is the first one we're going to use, the white one, which on the other end is actually orange. So we're going to do the same routine here. Cut this back. Very carefully cut this plastic and give it a little slice up that way. Let me just pull that off like so. Make our hole here. See, we are doing our accessory one wire, which is purple on the AudioVox remote start. And just so you know, I do prefer AudioVox remote starters. AudioVox, Prestige, Code, Alarm, they're all by AudioVox now. And we'll just slide this wire right in here like so. I've been installing these, well, since 1992, and I worked for AudioVox Corporation in Dayton, Ohio for a while at a couple different places, and this is what we installed for all the car dealers, and they hold up the best. They got the best warranty, the best technical support, and in my opinion, probably the best remote starter. They seem to really take a good beating, and they're not cheesy or flimsy feeling. You do sometimes get what you pay for. In a remote starter, you don't want to be buying cheap stuff if you plan on keeping it for any length of time. There's other good brands, but those are the three that I use the most professionally. And yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to do another video. We'll do a different type of remote starter on that one. I'm going to see if I can get a hold of an Escape. I think I can get a hold of an older Escape, and we're going to do a remote start on that one. But anyway, that one's done. Now we're going to look for our accessory 2 wire, which on the car it should be a yellow wire. Yellow wire. If you look in this plug back here, it looks like it's the first one on the top, so it's actually this green one here. And you can test it the same way. Put your key in the ignition, turn it on, test light should be on, and it's on. Start to crank it, it goes out. So it doesn't really make much difference if you get accessory 1 or 2 mixed up. They do the same thing. But the green wire is technically our number 2 line. And we do the same thing here again, just strip this back. This one's a little thinner. Makes it a little easier one way, but just easily cut this plastic. Not so easy to get off. There we go. Alright, then same routine. We just widen this out a bit. And then our accessory 2 wire will be ignition 2 wire from the, or accessory 2 wire, ignition 2 from our AudioVox remote start is also green. So we're going to put these two together. And then do the same thing we've been doing to the rest of them. Get it nice and tight. Tug on it a little bit. And we need to tape them up. Tape up nice and neat. And another wire tie. And last but not least for this harness anyway is our starter wire, which on the car it says it's a white wire. So we got a white wire in this harness, which says it's on the first pin here, so it's this black and yellow. Now easy to test this one. You stick your test light in here, grab your key, and the way you can tell is if you turn the ignition on, you should have nothing, no lights on at all. As soon as you try to start it, well, I guess it would help if my test light was plugged in still. Alright, here we go, test light plugged back in, and we'll go try to start it. See, the light came on red, turn it off, it should do nothing. When you crank it, it turns red, or the power comes on. That is our starter wire. So we just peel the plastic off of this one also. Just curve the plastic back some more. There we go. And we got that. I guess I got a few little extra frays there on that cut. And just elongate this a little bit and stick the yellow wire in and wrap it up nice and tight. Yeah, I'm probably going to come back in here and solder this later, just to be safe. But for sake of the video, I'll just kind of do the tape. Looks like I cut myself somehow. Alright, just get all that wrapped up. And then another wire tie. And that one's done. Now, that is the end of wiring up the main harness here. Now I'm just going to kind of bend this harness around to the main part. I want to keep my fuse holders where I can get to them if I need to. I'll take a wire tie here, and I'm going to tie this harness up to the factory harness a little bit better toward the back here. Pull it tight. Then I'm going to clip this back into the little snap ring it's got there. And keep these kind of pointing back because you can reach up under the dash and grab them if you need to. And always make sure everything is up and out of the way of the steering column. Check it, see if it'll go up and down without catching anything. And just route your harness over to the side here. For now, we're going to just push it over that way a little bit. Get rid of this extra piece of wire tie. And now we're going to start on the next harness. I've already pre-cut a lot of this stuff, so we can save a little time. We got this harness here. This is going to have our parking lights, trunk release, dome lights, stuff like that in it. Extra ignition pieces if we need them, which we don't on this application. And hang on, let me find what we're going to start with, and I'll get right back. Okay, now for this harness. We got the black wire here, which is our ground wire. I'm going to shorten this thing up a little bit. Strip back some of this wire, and we're going to put on a ground lug that comes with the alarm system. Just going to slide this on like so. This ground lug here, and then I got this tool here. We'll just kind of crimp that little booger on there like so. Now we need to find a place to ground it. I looked right under the fuse block. There's a hole. This metal bracket is all part of the frame. It's clean metal, no paint, no nothing. I'm just going to put the bolt through here, and we're going to put a bolt there, put the nut on the back side here, and we'll get them nice and tight. We'll have a nice solid ground. Good ground's very important. And simply take a wrench and tighten it up. Make sure it's nice and tight. There, now we're getting tight on the ground. And see, got a few more wires here. Got rid of some of them. Actually, this harness was already used in another installation, so bear with me. See, we got two white wires side by side. These are our parking lights. First, we need to determine whether we have positive parking lights or negative parking lights. And if I look at the diagram here, it appears that our parking lights are, see, we want the low curve. Okay, pink. It's a pink wire. It's positive. And it says it's located in the driver's kick panel. Let's see if I got any other information. Parking lights, pink. Pink. Okay, after doing a little looking, the pink wire and the kick panel, we could probably find it there, but there's an easier place. This little harness here that we unplugged when we took the dash piece off, it goes to the dimmer switch. There's three wires here. We got a pink, a gray, and a black. Well, here's our parking light wire. It's a pink wire, like it said. We're just going to strip back some of this sheathing, like so. And we can pry it apart. If we want to test it, we turn on the parking light. On, off, on, off. So that is our parking light wire. I'll just make this hole a little bit bigger again. Take one of the white lines. Gonna route this back behind stuff. Keep it nice and neat. We're gonna make sure we got enough extra here in case we need it. And strip back about an inch of this, like so, and just do what we've been doing all along here. Just stick it through the hole here. It's a real thin wire, so be careful with it. Then just twist this line on here. Get it nice and tight. Wrap it around there a few times. Then we're going to tape it. Tape it up real nice and neat. Here we go. Now, since I peeled back some of the tape on that, I'm just going to tape it up a little better all the way up. There we go, all the way up there. And just like I have been doing, we're going to put another wire tie on this one just to help support the wire from getting yanked or pulled out, I should say. Wire tie it, cut her off. Now we got that white line. We got one white wire left. Now we need to run this to a positive source so we can power the parking lights when the alarm or remote start is triggered. So I am just going to have to find me a power line. We'll use the one coming off the harness here. We already know it's got power. Strip back a little wire on it. It's a rough way to do it. Gotta get rid of some of this plastic. Go. And same old routine. And we'll take this white line here. Strip off about an inch of it. Same thing as we've been doing. And just wrap it up. Pull it tight. And you can just kind of tape it all back into this harness that we already started, or I already started. There, now we got our parking lights. Next, see, we got on here, we have a yellow and black wire, which I cut off down here. This is to control the alarm's ignition input to the yellow. Well, we don't need this one on this one. This is for a factory or a audio vox alarm that we're not using. See, the green and orange, that goes to the vehicle tach sensor ignition coil. We definitely are going to need that. Okay, so now we're going to hook up the tach sense wire for this car. In the audio vox alarm, it's a green with orange, and we're going to go outside, and what we're actually going to do is use a fuel injector, which will work the same way. There's a cover here on the engine. It's got a 10 millimeter here, 10 millimeter there. I've already taken them out. So you just pull this cover up, and right down there you'll see the fuel injector. I've already connected my wire. There's a white wire and there's a blue wire. You want the blue wire, which is the side that we need. Now we're going to run this wire neatly. Make sure it's underneath the throttle. We don't want it to get stuck on the throttle. And then I'm going to drill a hole in the firewall right down there, and I'll show you from the inside. Okay, now we're back in the car inside, under the bottom of the dash, right there, next to the gas pedal, brake pedal. There's a piece of carpet with a couple little studs hanging out. It's actually marked where you can pull it apart. I've already pulled it down and drilled a hole through there and ran my wire in. In that hole there, you'll want to put some dum-dum or some kind of putty around it so it doesn't rub. Or you could drill a bigger hole and actually put a little small grommet in. We're going to take this green wire and we're going to hook it up to this green and orange wire right here. So now I've got that connection made. I also got my module plugged into the harness, and we're going to program this alarm to do tach sensing. Since voltage sensing did not want to work on this particular car, I got my one remote here. It came with the remote starter, and what we're going to do, we put the key. We got to put the key in the ignition. Okay, we got the key in the ignition now. What we need to do, grab the programming switch, which is a plug-in push button switch. Turn the ignition to the on position. Press it 1, 2, 3. Hear the light click. turn the ignition off, on, off, on. And we want to go to number 5 position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we want to hit the lock button. That one click was that is voltage sensing. 1, 2. That's our tach sensing. Now we turn the ignition off, then start the car, let it run. Then we can turn the car off, take our remote, and hit the start button twice. 1, 2, and the car should start up. And there we go, it's running. Now we just need to put the engine cover back on outside and shut the hood. Now I had to remove the kick panel so we can find some of the other wires that we're looking for. I need the brake wire. There's 2 big harnesses running right here, but it runs into one main one. And you just got to kind of probe and keep looking. There's a black wire. It's not real thin, but it's not real thick, but it's thicker than most of them. This is our brake wire. Okay, this is our cold side of our brake switch, which I hooked the brown and black wire up from our AudioVox remote starter to this black wire, and I taped it up, and we're good for that one. Now we're going to hunt for the, let's see, which wire are we looking for now? Back to this harness here. We don't need too many for this particular installation I'm doing. We need the brown and the black, both whites. Of course, the black is a ground. Then there's a black with a white, which will go to the gray wire of the toggle switch. And then you ground this in, so we could just ground it to the ground wire we already have. And this is a programming toggle switch. It's also for emergency shutoff, so we'll need it. So we need to hook it to the gray wire. Needs to go to the black and white out of this harness, and then the black just needs to go to a ground, which would be, I would just go to the ground that we already have. The rest of these wires we don't really need. The yellow and the black, you can use the gray wire, which is the for a hood pin. I don't feel like putting one on right now, just for purpose of this video. The light blue is for like another ignition, 3rd or 4th ignition, which we don't have to worry about in this car. So I'm going to move on to okay, now for the door lock wires. You get the kick panel removed here. You got this plug. It's a 39 pin gray plug. The yellow wire and the green wire are lock and unlock wires. You just have to read which one's which. I believe the green is the unlock. Let me look here. On this particular car, our unlock wire, unlock is yellow. So the green from the AudioVox alarm will go to the yellow. The red will go to the green. The green is our lock wire, yellow unlock wire. If you buy one of these alarms or remote starters from our website, I will make sure that you get a copy of an AudioVox printout that tells you every wire color of your car. Just got to drop me a line, tell me what year, make, and model you have, and I will email you the printout of the car so you can hook up the alarm remote start. Okay, after finishing my install, I found that door locks didn't work quite the way I thought they would. So I did a little research and found out that Kia and Hyundai apparently have this strange setup here. You just need to follow this diagram that we got here from our good friends at AudioVox. This is the wire coming from the door lock cylinder. It comes through the door jamb, through the door kick panel, and just follow the diagrams. The lock wire is green, the unlock wire is yellow, the lock detection wire is also green, which you can all find all 3 of these wires in the driver's kick panel. You just remove the hood latch handle. There's a Phillips screw in there. You remove it. Then you can pull the plastic up around the bottom of the door,
and just pull that panel right off, and there's a 39 pin harness in there. You'll find you can test it with the test lights. The way you test your the driver's door lock detection wire is you actually have to use the key in the door and hit lock, and it will shoot a negative pulse every time you hit lock. And I'll leave this up so you can look at it. I'll also see if I can attach a PDF or actually I'll put a link to my website where you can actually get this diagram and just print it off. Well, let's move on to the next step.
Okay, now we got some of the smaller harnesses. We got this little 2-pin harness. It's got one wire in it. It's a dark blue. This plugs into the module, as you can see right here next to this gray and black connector. These,
okay, now
this blue wire is used for the trunk release.
That is the 1-pin plug, dark blue wire, and it's also in this 39-pin connector in the kick panel. It's a white wire. You can test it with your test light. It's a negative pulse. If you ground it, the trunk will pop. Also, I forgot to tell you, with the door locks, the same thing. They're both negative. So when you probe them with a test light that's grounded, it will lock and unlock, so you can test them that way. Now I got this hooked up. I'm just going to tape it up. Now for the antenna mounting. I always mount mine like this behind the rear view mirror. Then I run the cable up and underneath the headliner all the way over to the pillar. Then I tuck it in through here. I don't want to take this panel off because there's an air bag behind there. Then I pull the weather molding down, and then I run the wire down in here as neatly as possible, all the way down the jamb and into the alarm. Okay, now our install is complete, and we're going to test it. 1, 2, lights flash, and the car starts. Parking lights are on steady to let you know it's running. This particular model comes with 2 remotes. This is one of them. And then it comes with this fancy one that I misplaced. Comes with this fancy one here. I got to put a new battery in it. And this one tells you all kinds of stuff. Just look it up on the manual and see what it does. But that's it. Thanks for watching.